Uh, I know we're late, but anybody that knows me knows the show will know that we're always late. Tonight on the IGA podcast, we'll be asking Jose Nunes about himself, about his businesses, about his ideas and posts online mainly. This gentleman himself has actually had some controversy before we even had him booked for the show. We had people telling us he shouldn't be on here, shouldn't be given a platform, and we want to know what you think mainly. So, without further ado, let's introduce Jose and let's hear a little bit about him. Jose, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show. We'd love to speak to you. Being a controversial figure, online at least, I would love to hear a little bit more about you personally and see what the public actually gets to see of the real Jose. So let us know a little bit about you. I mean, where do you hail from?
Where? I missed the last bit. Where?
Where do you hail from? So where did you start from? Where did you come from, Jose? How did you come to prominence?
Originally, I came from Portugal.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much 20 years ago. And I settled down in North Wales, in the Welsh Guild.
Well, it's not a bad place to settle, to be honest with you.
He isn't. You know, if he wasn't, I won't be here after 20 years, would I? It's actually very quiet. It's a bit wet sometimes, but I guess you get used to it over time.
Is it quiet compared to the part of Portugal you came from?
Oh yeah, very quiet, very quiet. But I think most places in England compared to compared to Portugal is quiet because everything closes at 11.
So why did you move? Why did you essentially come to North Wales? How did that happen?
Very similar situation to what happened right now with, they end up blaming the EU migrants from coming to UK and taking all the jobs and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
We had a similar situation with immigrants from Brazil and Bulgaria.
Okay.
So we had a lot of illegal immigration. That was the real problem. And I needed a job, I needed a better life. I wasn't willing to work for less money, and so I moved to UK.
See, that particular comment there would be very sort of BNP-esque conversation that you would hear over here in our political parties. You'd hear the BNP saying, these foreigners coming in, taking jobs, stuff like that. But what you're saying is it was happening in Portugal.
Yeah, it happened in Portugal back in 2001. Yeah.
And where were these people coming in from?
Well, they're coming in illegally, like we're seeing right now. It's in a boat, they're crossing the sea unnoticed or noticed, but somebody was turning a blind eye to it because it was a difficult situation to deal with. It's never easy to deal with people in that situation. When people are desperate and do desperate things, as long as the people are coming to work and make a life better for themselves, people kind of turn a blind eye to it. But in a very short period of time, it became clear that it started to affect the locals.
Okay. And how old were you when you moved?
I was 21.
So that was. Did you say we spoke beforehand? So that was 2001 that you was it 2001 that you moved?
Yeah, 2001. That's when I came to the UK.
And the UK wasn't your original destination of choice.
No, it wasn't. We basically, I didn't speak any English. I didn't speak any other language either. We could speak is Portuguese, and that's it. It was 18 of us, and we landed in Germany. And that was the place we were supposed to get out of the plane, but we didn't. And we didn't get out. Nobody checked, and the plane took off again and took us to London.
So there were 18 of you.
Yeah, 18 of us. Yeah.
And is that family? Was that friends or?
No, just friends. Just people who used to work with me. Because the work is going down slowly because obviously people who come from other countries who have no family. Have no one to go home to, so they work from sunset to sunrise, or the other way, from sunrise to sunset. And and they are drying up the work very, very quickly, working for much less than what we would want. Now, we can really blame the immigrants because it wasn't them who were benefiting from all of that. The bosses, the employers, are the ones who are benefiting from everything, taking advantage of the situation of cheap labor.
Yeah.
And enriching themselves by taking advantage of what is available. I mean, once you have that much power, you're going to use it.
In relation to yourself, because obviously you said you moved to the UK because of illegal immigration into Portugal.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, you have moved to the UK and immigrated here. Was it in a similar fashion? I mean, like you said, there was 18 of you.
No, we are European immigrants. So we just entered the UK as a right of entry for being European. Right? So if you are European, you can travel to all the 20, well, used to be 29, now 27 countries. You don't get asked anything until you try to apply for jobs. That's when you get asked for documentation, and then you provide the documents, and maybe you get a job, maybe not.
And did you find yourself being paid the same as everybody else, or would you be paid less?
At the time, like I said, we got lost. We tried to stay in London. We ended up in Aberdeen, Scotland, because we got in the wrong bus. The bus went for 12 hours. We thought we were in London.
So you didn't even know where you were in the UK when you landed?
And we couldn't, none of us could speak English good enough to tell, to ask where we are. What we're trying to do in our first 3 days is to rent a house. But, you're seeing 18 people turning into a house, or, we still see signs on the windows when they thought the house was for rent. People would close the door and go away. It's very typical and normal reaction if you're going to see a bunch of foreigners approaching your property.
Well.
You're going to be afraid. Of course, you're going to be afraid. But, we quickly realized we didn't have enough money in ourselves either to be able to rent the property. So, we basically just subject ourselves to, well, let's see what will happen. And we stayed homeless for about 3 days.
I was going to say, because obviously you didn't expect to come to the UK. So why was it the UK as opposed to Germany that you were originally going to?
It was the last stop.
It was the last stop?
Yeah, the plane did 2 stops, and this was the last stop, so we had to get up. We had no chance to get up. And
so with no plan, no job, no housing, what did you do?
Well, for the first 3 days, we were obviously sleeping rough, sleeping outside the shopping centers or whatever we could, under the bridge or whatever we could, just to stay home and away from the cold.
Wow.
On the third day, we decided to stay in the town. We didn't actually decide to go under the bridge again because it wasn't that cold on that night. So we stayed outside what was at the time Marks and Spencer's. We had like a hangover for the rain just before you get into the shop.
Oh, so you leveled up slightly. You instead of being under the bridge, you stayed outside Marks and Spencer's. Yeah.
But it was illegal to be homeless, so the police come and arrested us in about 2 hours of us being there. Because we didn't move for 2 hours, they arrested us. At least we had a home meal for the night.
Wow.
We didn't go to sleep there, but we had, next day we had a translator, and they got a Brazilian translator for us, and that's when we find out where we are and where London was and where we are.
So your first experience of the UK was coming here, obviously with no job, no housing, 18 of you, and your first experience was being homeless and then being arrested for subsequently being homeless.
Yeah. Yes, because we had nowhere to stay, so it wasn't safe to sleep on those conditions. It was just near Christmas time, right? And
what did you do after that? Where did you go? How did you get out? Because I assume you've got out of homelessness now.
Oh yeah, very good. But we what happened is through the translator and the embassy, the police got tickets for us to get on a train and come to London. Right, so we got the tickets. They give us tickets for us to come to London. So to come to a place which called Little Portugal.
So they gave you the tickets, or you were able to?
No, the embassy paid for the tickets. We had some money. They put all this money together, and they bought tickets for the train for us to come to London. And obviously, everybody had the directions what to do when to get to London. We're going to be in a Portuguese community. It's going to be easy for us to set our feet and get going. But I had a ticket where I had to swap the train in Crewe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had all the directions. I followed all the directions. It was on line 5, but the train that came, it wasn't the train for people. It was the petrol train.
Okay. And you just saw the train and jumped on.
Right. So they changed the line. So it was another 5 or 6 people there. I just followed that people over the bridge to the other side. They get on the train. I follow them into the train, and then that's how I ended up in Bangor, North Wales.
Of all the places.
Again, the guy comes looks at my ticket. He saw I was on the wrong train and threw me out in Bangor.
Wow. So you managed to sort your living situation out. Are you separated from the rest of your group now?
Yeah. Yes.
So they've all gone elsewhere, done their own thing. You've come to North Wales.
Yeah.
And how did you end up making a living in North Wales as somebody who didn't speak English, for one?
Yeah. Welsh.
All Welsh. Yeah, all Welsh, for that matter. Being in Wales, of course.
I get out of the train. I went to the bus station. The bus station is still there. That bus station still exists today.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you get out of the train station, you get a bus station right there.
Yeah.
I sat down, and obviously, of course, I was cursing and swearing like mother. I was going nuts. Basically, what I was trying to do is to get attention of the police or something, right?
Right.
If I would have some luck that I had in Aberdeen.
Well, because you've already seen that the police have helped you in one way. Although it doesn't, for us, we would look at it as, I don't feel like I'm being helped, I've been arrested. But for someone like yourself thinking, well, I'm off the street and I've got some food.
Yeah, exactly. Once you are in that situation, on that cold for 3 days, you don't really care.
And North Wales is cold. Yeah. I've got Adria nodding her head over here. She's Welsh. She knows it's cold.
Yeah. Aberdeen is even cold. Okay?
Even colder. Jeez.
I never seen that much snow in North Wales as I've seen in Aberdeen. The snow is up to my knees. I'm 6'4", right?
Yeah.
And the snow was just below my knee line. Right? So that's how cold it was. So that's why we decided on the third day not to walk to the flyover end of the bridge.
Yeah.
Because the way back, we would get all wet just trying to get to town. Our feet will be wet, trousers will be wet, So we decided, just stay in town, and it will be another day tomorrow. As simple as that.
Yeah.
In that euphoria, what I was doing in there, trying to get the police attention, a bus came and stopped. This stopped, and who comes out, a Portuguese guy.
Yeah.
Portuguese guy comes out, he starts, come down, what's going on? And I can't believe he speaks Portuguese. But, that same guy found me a place to stay for the night and got me a job next day at £3.20 an hour.
Whoa, okay.
So I didn't think twice. Can I start tomorrow? We'll start tomorrow.
Do you know what? That is the thing, right? So what you're saying is you have moved from Portugal because obviously you're getting an influx of people from other regions or other countries who are essentially taking a lot of jobs and doing it cheaper. One, because of the way they live, as in their households, so they can afford to do things cheaper. And two, because obviously they'll take what they can and start a life.
We see here, right? We see here, we figure a lot of immigrants coming, even if they're coming from the EU, you will see that they rent a house and they will live 5, 6, 8 people together in one house. So it's exactly the same thing they were doing back in Portugal.
But already, you're seeing yourself as becoming a controversial figure just by arriving here in the fashion that you have.
Oh, no. It's, on that night, I got a job. So I worked, that was a Tuesday, I worked all week. First night went out, met my wife, the Welsh girl. First night I went out clubbing, met her. We started to go out, we got together, and we've been together since. But the controversy starts, I actually did an interview for the paper in 2003 in North Wales, telling the people in North Wales, this is what happened in my country, this is why I ended up here.
Yeah.
because we had mass migration hitting the country, right?
Okay.
That's back in 2003. So at that time, then I got the job in the factory. I met another guy on the factory because I was a builder, and his brother was a builder, and he said, you know what?
Yeah.
Instead of you working here, I'm going to talk to my brother, and they're going to get you a job. Really bad English, but I could understand this guy is trying to help me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get any help I can, right? So he got me a job with his brother. At that time, it was £5.60. So I went from £3.20 to £5.60, and I was living with my girlfriend.
Mm.
Right? At the time, I was living with a girlfriend. So I went for work for that guy. Well, while I was working for that guy, a week later, another guy offered me a job at £7.50.
Right.
So
quite a jump.
So I just kept jumping. Whatever gives me the most, that's where I go.
Right. I mean, that's fair enough. So how did you jump from? So the main thing really that, I mean, I'm getting questions already, and the main thing people know you for on here, as far as I can tell, the people that are asking questions, is because you run pages like For Sale in Bangor.
Yeah.
You've also got other pages and also a newspaper. Is it a page or a group? You've started.
It's a page, yeah.
Is it Wales Express?
Yeah, Wales Express, yes.
You are, I would say, you're causing a little bit of controversy on there just for some of the posts that you're putting on there. Now they're starting a few arguments, and obviously there is no better a time to start an argument than right now, because you've got all sorts of movements going on. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on online? Because every time, I mean, just before we actually even booked you to come on here, we already had people saying to us, and I've got messages in my inbox saying you should not be giving this person a platform to speak on because of the I think that was the quote, hateful things you've been saying or posting. Now, looking at it objectively, I can see kind of what you've done there. You put a post that is a little bit of a fire starter in a way. You're picking on a subject that can be a little bit delicate, and you're letting people go at it.
Exactly. But the reason I do that is because I have tried everything else. Okay, I have tried the nice approach. I have tried the helpful approach. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. So you need to find some way where people is going to listen and obviously express their opinion, like the show today. We want people to express their opinion, because when people are angry and in pain, that's when they'll allow their feelings to flow.
But why do you want their feelings to flow? Why do you need what do you gain from getting that kind of attention on these posts?
That's when you get honesty. You know how people feel. Mm-hmm. People really express how they feel. There's two ways people really express how they feel. Either they get very angry or in pain, or they're drunk. Now, the drunk bit always gets mixed feelings, because it depends on what mood they're in is going to affect the state that they're going to reply. Now, sometimes I'm not trying to cause any arguments or any pain. All I'm trying to do is get an opinion. But I cannot be responsible for the way that people interpret the way I spell or I say it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not my fault the way that they wanted to understand it.
Well, I always say, like, people are offended because they allow themselves to be offended. It's not necessarily something you've said that has made them offended. It's how they choose to accept it.
Emotionally, I touched somewhere that relates.
Yeah, that's it. But you've touched on somewhere that you know might strike a nerve. Yeah. Just before you carry on, we've actually already had a question here. Somebody has asked, I mean, this is a little bit personal. Have you registered to be in the UK post-Brexit, and how could that affect you? Will it affect you?
I didn't register because this is not, because a lot of people know, I had a domestic a couple of years ago. Things come out on the paper. I just decided to go in and play guilty to get things out of the way, because I didn't want things to be in court for ages. Mm-hmm.
Well, you have a life to live as well. I mean, as well as you might spark controversy, you might have views on things, but you are still a person.
Yeah, but basically what happened is, they told me, because I've been here so long, that's the Home Office, there is nothing they can do to take me out of here, unless I commit a lot of crime. and he has to be serious crime, like blood crimes, killing, robbery, and all that stuff. If I don't do anything like that, I don't have anything like that hanging on my neck, so I'm actually not on a rush to apply for my status.
Oh, so you don't need to, is it because of the amount of time you've been here? You don't need to apply to stay here now?
No, well, the Home Office already told me what's going to happen. So, because I've been here long enough, I got a family here. I got records to prove I've been here since 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have to.
Okay.
It's not a mandatory or compulsory. If you go to the page, if people read the page and read properly, sometimes it's important to read everything that they say. Yeah. You don't have to. You don't have to do it right now. I think I still go about 8 months, 9 months left or something like that if I want to apply.
And after that, nothing happens?
After that, I will think about it. But right now, we'll see how the country goes, how things really go. We're really going to get out, because I don't think we're going to get out. I still don't think we're going to get out, because I just don't believe the guy. This guy just lies. He's always been a liar. He made a living by being a liar, right? So
politics, my friend, politics.
I just got to let it go until the last minute. And then the last minute, I will, if I have to, I will. But I mean, I got a family here. I've been paying my taxes. Got a child, got a family. So it's not enough. Things that I don't have to prove I've been here since 2001. I still have my plane ticket anyway.
Still got a plane ticket.
I got robbed as well. And I still got I was stranded here for 3 years trying to get my documents because I couldn't prove I was Portuguese.
Right.
Because I'm tall, and usually people think, because this it happens. So because you're tall, people didn't believe I was Portuguese. They thought I was Russian, and I was trying to say I was Portuguese to get a European passport or something like that. Oh. Right? So I had to go from here to the embassy in London, because the embassy in Manchester wouldn't give it to me. So I had to sleep outside in London all night to make sure I was in time on a queue to get permission to fly from Heathrow to Portugal. And then also I got to Portugal, and then I went and applied for my ID card.
So as far as you're concerned, you've jumped through all the hoops you feel you need to jump through.
So far, I think so. Right now I'm enjoying North Wales. There's a beautiful countryside.
Oh, who wouldn't? I moved up here myself from Essex. How long ago must it have been now?
I think you were 16 when you moved.
17, so... 17. God, it's like 16 years ago? 16 years ago now I've moved up here.
Yes.
Yeah, quite. I think I'd happily stay, to be honest. Yeah. Hopefully they won't kick me out of here.
No, people are actually quite nice. What we hear sometimes, people say, I think Welsh people are quite nice. They're quite forgiving as well.
So let's get back to your Facebook page, because as I sit here scrolling through your page, I can see a little bit of business stuff, obviously, because you have your own business.
Yeah.
And also, I can see controversial posts about... Now, this is on your personal page. This isn't necessarily just a banger for sale. This is your personal page putting things like calling... there's a picture of Martin Luther King. It says, calling someone privileged because they are white is judging somebody by the colour of their skin. Now, picking on a subject like that, and obviously you're trying to reverse it onto Black Lives Matter a little bit, and also you've got another one here just under it from a couple of days before saying leaders lead, which is a picture of Donald Trump, Mr. Controversy himself, walking, and then you've got cowards kneel, which is his opponent in the polls, Bernie Sanders. Is Bernie Sanders? Is that his name? I think so. And he's kneeling. So obviously you are sort of you're throwing the argument back on the people who are making the argument.
Yeah, because that guy, like you said, you are into politics, and if you look into that guy's past, and if people were shocked when Donald Trump came into power, people bring all those things about him putting guns in the wrong places and stuff like that. We saw all that, but people seem to forget what this guy has done, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, what he's doing is a lie. This is all a lie. This BLM,
Which
Black
guy?
Lives Matter. This is everything. This is everything politics, and this everything a lie, right? When it's no Bernie Sanders, is it? Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, yeah.
Is that Bernie Sanders? I thought his name is something else. I was trying to look for that one. But this guy, you look at these actions and the stuff that is, did you read that stuff about Epstein?
About what?
Epstein.
Oh, Epstein.
Epstein. Yeah, that guy. Did you read that stuff about him? Yeah, have you seen the documentary about him and all that stuff?
I've seen plenty of stuff about that
Yeah,
particular
so-
person, and I've also seen the horribly creepy videos of Bernie Sanders with the kids.
Yeah, and that's and Donald Trump has some videos with that guy as well, right? But okay, because the political relation here is what this guy promised, and we know politics never give you what they promised before they get the seat. As soon as they get the seat, they change.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nearly
Right.
every time.
Now, if you go and check this guy in previous attempts to try to become the prime minister, the president of the United States,
Hmm.
we know exactly what this guy's intentions were before, and we know exactly what his intentions is right now to try and get through.
But why are you posting it? Because obviously that's America, that's the US. We're not as involved in that per se. But
Well,
why are you post? I mean, for example, because the first time I actually came across you myself was on. It was either For Sale in Bangor, or it was one of those sites, and I can't even remember the post now. You posted something which was controversial. I made a reply on it. We did speak about this previously, but I made a reply on it, and my post was actually removed, and then I was blocked from messaging again. But I found it very strange at the time because I didn't know you. I didn't know why you were posting it. I didn't know why that was there, and I thought on a for sale page that seems like a very strange thing to post, a very politically charged post about something that has nothing to do with the UK
Yeah.
or nothing to do with anything for sale. So why is that there? Why is it in that group and on that page on a for sale site?
Well, is why
Joe
why
Biden, not Bernie Sanders.
Joe
That's the
Biden.
one I'm thinking of. Joe
That's what I
Biden.
thought. Joe Biden.
Thank you, Al.
No. Okay. The thing sometimes I do some things. It's not necessarily mean that's because I want to get to some. It's for the benefit of the group itself. Okay. Because the way that things work on the internet, it comes down to activity.
Hmm.
Like your podcast. If your podcast doesn't get viewers, it doesn't get run.
Oh yeah, if nobody watches, nobody comments, nobody shares,
Yeah.
remember that, guys. You have to share and comment for this to actually go further. So we appreciate that. But if nobody does that, then you sit there in a space doing nothing, essentially.
And he's helping the brother, helping everybody. I'm actually, when you actually meet me personally, you will see that I'm a guy for helping everybody.
Hmm.
I can say no in the most things, but one of the things I learned this year in UK, is that sometimes you have to be a little selfish
Hmm.
to push things forward to be listened.
You have
I
to,
like-
for some things, you have to help yourself before you can help others.
Exactly. Now, like you said yourself, that was nothing to do with the group itself. It was nothing to do with the UK.
Hmm.
But I got you to react.
You did. You got many people to react. I'll give you that. You did get many people to react.
Exactly. Now, that's important for the group itself.
Okay.
Okay, that's the group that sells things. Yes, that's the name of the group that sells things. Is the main thing, is not the only thing. It's a discussion group, it's an announcement group. I go an app on my phone when I'm driving, when I'm going to Cladino, I'm going to Oliad, or I'm going to Liverpool, whatever. I find the police doing the speed cameras, I press the button and I put a notification on a group. There it goes. If you come in this way, they're doing, there is a speed camera or there is a cop. It again, waiting for you to come by speeding. Bangor Street last week. The group does many things,
Hmm.
right? And there is no reason that Facebook is providing you all these features, and we're gonna say this is a cell group. Well, you look at the other cell groups. They're boring. There's nothing happening in those groups. They're absolutely boring.
So it's all prams and garden furniture, whereas you'd like a bit of conversation going.
Most of it is people just selling stuff that nobody wants. Right? They make it very hard to sell anything. So why don't make use of it? You know, how does Facebook make money? How does Google make money? How does YouTube make money? Selling advertising. People don't claim to complain to Facebook if you see an advert that is not relevant to what you put on your page about your dog.
Hmm.
You know, you go for a dog walk and then somebody shows you know, here it goes, a Bitcoin advert, right? You get a Bitcoin advert on your thing where you went for a dog walk.
Yeah.
Come on, what's going on here? Well, it's because Facebook and all this internet stuff, they don't care about your life. They care about the person who's watching.
So
Right?
you feel like Facebook wants you to essentially post stuff like that to create.
No, I don't feel. I know Facebook and, you know, Facebook, Google. You know, I got invited to be a Google partner. I didn't ask to be a Google partner. They sent me an email.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe it the first time. I thought it was a scam. Why me? So of all people, why me? You know, I'm only putting videos about helicopters, remote control helicopters, which are trying to fly, and I kept crashing.
Okay.
But I did know. You know, as soon as I start to fly the helicopters and know how to fly, I pass my license. I got my A's. Nobody watches the bloody videos anymore. Why? So people really don't care about other people's suicides. They care about other people's pain. Right?
So the more negative, I mean, it's all negative press essentially. When you do it, it's very negative press, and it creates negative conversations because the fact that people are arguing over it is not a positive thing. You're not
about this, but that's the only way that people react. Unfortunately, you know, this is why, you know, Black Lives Matter commit. They do all this violence to get people's attention and lying to people, taking advantage of people's emotions because people don't pay attention to the good stuff. People don't care about the good stuff. People don't care about the guy who helped the old lady cross the road. You know, how many tabloids or newspapers have you ever seen that sells good news?
I hear what you're saying on that, because essentially the term that is kicked around is clickbait, isn't it? Everybody knows about clickbait. A post comes up, a title comes up that makes you want to click on it, whether it's good, bad, ugly, whatnot.
Well,
the whole
clickbait
point is to get you to click on it and join a group, join a page to see more of it.
No, because if you click on that, if somebody shares that from the page into their walls, onto their profiles, people actually come back and actually see that conversation is going on. Now, clickbait is something that shows, you know, we see a lot of times, you know, Peter Jones, you know, the tycoon died, and then you click on that and you see some guy trying to pass a scam on a Bitcoin's name.
Yeah.
Right? That's clickbait because it's misleading.
Yeah.
Now, with our posts, when people share them, the discussion is going on.
Okay.
You join the discussion and you join other people and you give your opinion, and everybody, you know, if I don't reply to people and I don't, sometimes I just post it and go and do my stuff.
You just drop it in and let it go.
Drop it in and get it go. Yeah. And then if you notice, people even start to argue between themselves.
Yeah. So you're not doing. I see you differentiate yourself from clickbait because you don't want people to then click on it and go to a page and you get paid for adverts, things like that. Yeah. But you are expecting people to have a conversation, whether it's controversial or not, which also adds, I would assume, revenue to your page or your group because of Facebook affiliation.
No, Facebook was trying to do me to play games, but I'm not into games anymore. You know, if I was on my 20s, maybe I would do that game stuff. I don't. I tried it. I tried to get into it.
Yeah.
Even with my daughter, I tried to play. Sorry. I tried to play this new game. She plays with her friends. I can't remember the name of this game. But this thing just costs a pile of money to buy weapons, to buy shields, to buy suits, to buy skins.
Oh, is that PUBG? Was it PUBG or what's the other one? F something, I'm thinking.
It's a crazy thing, you know. Doesn't actually work on the computer, so you have to use my computer.
Yeah.
Because the computer is too small to play it, right? And then you're supposed to go on Facebook and then you put yourself there like you are, the things on your ears and talking on a microphone and try to engage with people. The idea is to try and sell the game and then get people to buy the upgrade.
Yeah.
You know?
So we've also had a question come in. So do you run the for sale group as a front to enable you to publish your own political views? So is in a sense, do you believe the things you post? Are you literally just doing it to get the views, the conversations, things like that? Or do you actually believe some of the stuff you post?
I do believe
they've also, sorry, just to add to it, they've said, why not start a public discussion page? People looking to buy and sell items don't want to see such comments.
No, I don't agree with that because you will see if that is true, then I wouldn't have any reactions to the posts.
So people want to be offended. They want to react to things. It doesn't matter where it is. They want it. Exactly. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and there's absolutely no reason why we can do it. Why not? You know, when we're doing that, there is people trying to sell stuff. Allow these people to sell stuff in between. Why not? Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the newspaper. If a newspaper only sold news every time a car crash or somebody dies, and then put any adverts in other pages, then they won't make any money.
So you're just following the suit of mainstream media, essentially.
Yeah, what is known to work. You know, if people come here, some come here for the noise, for the arguments, for the, you know, it's a good way, especially if you had a bad day at work. Okay, maybe some stuff. I do try to post some funny stuff sometimes.
I've seen that. I've seen a couple of funny videos on there, to be fair. It's not all controversy. I mean, when people saw that I posted that I'll be having somebody on the podcast who was a controversial figure, which you are, I did post a few funny faces on there to show there are different sides to this. People find some of your stuff funny. There's a little bit of money involved. There's also negative comments. There's everything. It's a bit of everything.
But, you know, it's a niche for everybody.
Yeah.
It's my niche. What's my niche? A lot of people know what my niche is. He's into Bitcoin. He's into car wrapping. He's into doing, light tints, window tints. That's the stuff that people know that I am about. But it's another people there selling cars. People selling car parts. It's people selling man on the van. It's people collecting rubbish. It's people, you know. And some of those guys, every now and then, I just pick one, I throw them, and I just push him. I just press and there it goes. Let's make this guy famous. I push that button, and he goes, and all of a sudden, he didn't have any comments, and the comments start to reappear. When can you come collect my stuff? When can you come and do this? How much do you want for this? You know, others I press and nothing happens. Even though I press it and I push him to the top of the page, it doesn't happen. Why? Because, well, maybe, look, people are not really interested in this. But if I go and tell him, he's going to take an offensive. Are you telling me stuff that I'm doing is crap? Who the hell do you think you are? You know what I mean? It becomes...
Well, my question to you then is, do you ever get drawn into these arguments? So you'll post something that might be controversial to some people, and you know it will be, and you know a conversation is going to start. Do you ever get drawn into it? Do you ever see that one comment where you think, no, I'm going to have a say on this as myself, and you get caught out?
Of course I do, and that's human, okay? And you have to, okay? I can't just post something there and then never talk. I have to go back and, no, you're going to say that, I'm going to say that.
Because that's where I'd fail. Every time I post something, I'd see a comment of it, no, I'm not having that, I'm going to type this.
You know, but that's the great thing about being behind your screen, because nobody says it. But you know what? Guess what? If we were in a public place and you saw exactly the same comment, you wouldn't do anything. Because it becomes something about pride. Right? It becomes about principles. But because you're behind your screen, behind your phone, you don't care. You think nobody knows, nobody sees you. Yeah. And I just couldn't do it.
Well, do you know, that's a very similar thing, because I get comments on, I don't get many, but I get a couple of comments on some of my posts. I've seen comments on others. And where I see these arguments taking place, I will put a little comment on there and I'll see what happens and whatnot. And the people that come across with such a strong opinion and the strongest comment, like, no, I must be heard. If I then ask them, why don't you come on my podcast and have your say there? Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but
I'll write something down, I'll post it and I can walk away, but I'm not going to voice it over something and have an actual conversation about it.
Well, this is because most people allow their rage, their hate to come out. Their euphoria to come out. Okay, and they just say it, and then next minute or next day they repent it. They go, "Oh, I shouldn't say that."
And it's easier to delete a comment than delete something you've said on audio.
Exactly. Like this, like we're doing right now. This is a podcast. This is live.
Oh, this is live. Yes, definitely. And then it's there for as long as Facebook allow it to be there. If you allow it to stay there, that'd be great.
Even if you delete it, it doesn't go away. Right? It stays there. It's an archive. It will be an archive. And there's a way to find it if I want to find it.
Yeah.
Right? You can go online and you type anything you want on a Wayback Machine. There's a website called Wayback Machine on Google. You type that name, you type anything you want in there, and it goes back whatever years, and it gets you the exactly date and time that something was posted online. It shows.
Oh yeah, we've heard that before. People where people think they've deleted something, profiles, posts, anything, it's always there somewhere. It stays there. You can't get rid of it. Once it's out there, it's out there. There's no going back on it.
The internet is the new archives. Before we did everything on a paper, write it on a paper. So I actually started one. I don't know if you are already part of the group, but this is on a very early stage of the group about if it's the earth is flat.
No. Okay.
That one went completely out of it. Okay. I had to delete the post. I deleted the post, but I still got an archive about the post.
You had to delete a post. What is it about them?
That's the only time, and that's because threats start to come in as well.
Threats against you?
Threats against me, threats against other people. People are contacting me private. Hey man, you need to delete this. Why is he threatening me? Facebook is telling me to take this to the police and show to the police because it's a life threat. And there's always. I just delete the post and everything goes away.
So so for you to be told to delete it, did you say that was a person telling you to delete it, or did Facebook tell you to delete it?
No. Facebook didn't tell. What Facebook wants is that people do not threat each other. When it comes to the point of threatening each other, Facebook will delete the post, bans the person. It has happened to me. I was banned for 60 days. Obviously, it wasn't for the posting. It was for posting about my pneumonia condition. But Facebook will monitor that. It's not just me managing that group. Facebook is there as well.
So that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, I was going to say, what happens when it turns from a heated discussion on Facebook, to threats and violence, things like that? What happens at that point?
The police gets involved.
The police get involved?
Yeah, the police gets involved. Sometimes they take it serious. Other times they don't. It depends on the threat.
How do they get involved? Like where do they get notified?
You basically copy what you go. You take a picture or print it out, and you call the police.
Okay. So Facebook doesn't step in to intervene?
Facebook does recommend you to report it to the police for, safety and security reasons, just in case.
Okay.
But this is when things go really out of the normal. Then everything disappears, Facebook deletes it, or whatever Facebook does with it, nobody knows.
So once it goes too far and the conversation turns into violent threats, things like that, Facebook might delete it or might tell you to delete it, or they advise you go to the police.
Or they delete it himself. The Facebook has a robot and has a person. The robot comes first. Robot detects what's going on. Robot deletes it. The person reviews it and says the robot did right or wrong. Right? And over time, this robot becomes even smarter.
So the more these things happen, the more information it gets, and the more it easily can deal with it.
And eventually, it becomes semi-automated. How many times I had to contact Facebook? Facebook refuses to talk to me. But then they say it's because they short stuff about coronavirus. Come on, before the coronavirus, we were already doing the same thing.
Even though you're a Facebook partner?
Yes, that's I didn't follow through in completing and doing the game stuff because I don't want to do the game stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so in order for me to benefit the Facebook partnership, I have to do this game stuff.
What's the game stuff? What's that?
Live stream gaming.
So what you have to...
Live stream games. Every day you do at least 1 hour of live stream game.
And they allow you to be a partner that way?
Yeah, basically a partnership is you get paid, up to 55% of the ad revenue that they make.
Wow, that's quite a chunk.
Yeah.
So at what point do you get asked if you want to become a partner?
I think just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually they will contact you.
Once you get enough people arguing.
It's no get people arguing. The idea is not getting them arguing, but get them talking.
Yeah.
Right. You get activity. The more activity you get, the better.
Okay.
Right. But certain things, obviously, I could go on forever about this stuff that's going on now in the politics and Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. But guess what? Facebook will eventually block me because they will block people that are bigger than me.
Mm.
They have pages just based on this stuff, and these pages get a lot of hits, but they delete it.
So you can get people like Katie Hopkins bouncing around on the camera, wearing a burqa and everything, telling what's the name, Begum, that calling her all sorts of names, and she's allowed to do that. And
she's not allowed to do that. She's been deleted on Twitter. She's been deleted on Instagram.
Has she been deleted off Facebook? Because that's where I saw the video.
I know she has been deleted on Facebook, but she's not far from it.
Because that was quite shocking when I saw that.
Facebook doesn't react based on how it affects you. It reacts on how it affects Facebook. If Facebook is going to have a bunch of people complaining every single day, every second, right? People complain. Facebook just don't want to deal with that. They have no time to be dealing with that stuff, and they delete it. It's easy for them.
They'll judge it, or their robots will judge as to the Facebook adverts that are running alongside your groups, alongside your page, your posts. If the attention is too negative, they will ditch it.
Yeah, because it's no good for the advertisers, it's no good for Facebook, and it's upsetting people.
Right? But I tell you what, away from your negative press that you get online, what have you got going on that's positive in your life? I mean, what have you got going on away from this?
Well, and away from this, I got the Bitcoin stuff. If people see I posted the Bitcoin stuff, which is, I do it myself. I don't go and join some Ponzi scheme or, I done my stuff, my bad stuff. I joined Ponzi schemes. I lost money. I made money. The important thing is that you learn from those things. So you turn the negatives into positives. Learn from that, right? If you notice on my posts, I kind of start very hard and then I start to relax them. Like you said, you saw the one, but you saw the last one I posted. Then I removed the color. Let's remove the color. Now this one I'm going to post, but I'm going to remove color. So it went down better. I had more likes.
Yeah.
Less negatives because there was no color mention here, right? And then today, as soon as I get up, I come to the computer. First thing that comes up is this guy kicking a baby. Man, I was like, I'm going to put this on
a man kicking a baby. That's what comes up on your Facebook.
I posted on a page. This guy kicking this woman, black people kicking this half white, half black woman, and the baby, right? So this took me back, because a lot of this stuff reminds me of my dad, because I lost my dad. My dad died when I was 9, and the reason he died, don't walk because he went to the Angola war, civil war. Okay. Right, so he left Portugal. He left us to go and fight the war, and he came back. He came back completely messed up, eventually drinking himself to death. And this is all has to do with the 1975 Angolan war. It started similar to what we're seeing right now. What we're seeing on the streets of the UK and the US right now. This is what happened back in 1975, 25 years ago.
In where?
Angolan civil war.
Right.
If you go to Angola civil war, what happened when they wanted revolution? They wanted their country back, and they wanted a white man out of the country. We're seeing exactly the same copy. Just at the time they didn't have cameras, and now we have cameras.
That's a big argument. That it's not necessarily that things are worse now; it's just being recorded.
It's just being recorded. Exactly. That is the real issue. And because it's been recorded and people have more access to opinion and share their opinion. Come on, we used to have just a box, TV.
Yeah.
And we are forced to watch whatever they show us. That's mind controlling as well.
Yeah. Well, it's all propaganda. Whatever way you look at it, it is controlled to some extent. You've got people who are directing, people who are executive directors who will say that can go in, that can't go in. There is a certain amount of propaganda in everything you see.
Exactly. But right now, people have the power to do something about it. But unfortunately, for some reason, we always go more people going for the bad than for the good of everyone. Let's do something for the good of everyone. Okay, is equality good for everyone? No, it's not. Come on, guys, it's not.
You don't think equality is good for everyone?
No, equality is never going to be good because there's always going to be something different about it for you to complain. I work hard, I should get paid harder. If I work slower, you get paid slower. You know what I mean? If you work slow, you work less. If you work less, you get paid less. If you work more, you get paid more. So this is why I don't believe in white privilege or black privilege. Don't tell me that Barack Obama's kids, the kids are, his daughters are not privileged. Come on. The father is rich. How can they not be privileged? Right? It's nothing to do with color. It's about, like it's going back when I came to this country. I could just, you know what? I didn't know that, by the way. But if I did, I probably took advantage of it. But I didn't know that UK will give you free houses. They give you income a week or, £50 a week or £60 a week or whatever. I didn't know that. Because if I knew that back then, I probably would take advantage, but I didn't. So all I knew when I came here is I need to push myself forward if I'm going to get somewhere, or I need to find my way back home. I was talking to my brother-in-law, I was talking to my mom, and I was lying to them. I said, no, I'm good. I got a house, I got this, is all 5 stars. No, it's not.
So you were living that Facebook life before Facebook was really around?
No, it wasn't Facebook at the time yet. The internet, when I bought my first computer, there was no Facebook. There was MySpace. There wasn't MySpace. MySpace came after.
Yeah.
There was Napster. At the time, it was Napster. It was nothing like this. The internet has came, since I came to UK, even before I came to UK, right?
Yeah.
Dial-up. Dial-up is just getting out of the way. Dial-up is not being, I used to pay massive bills on the internet here, 500, 600 quid a month for using dial-up. The girlfriend used to do my head. Look how much money you're going to have to pay for this thing because you've been on the internet.
I remember my mum had. Do you remember AOL? AOL dial-up. My mum had that, and she also got this. I think it was on the CD-ROM at the time. If you got AOL, you could have it at a certain price, and you had it free. This amount of internet or something. There was some sort of deal up until recently, where it's now become obsolete. She had some sort of deal where it was the same price forever, and she had it up until it must have been about 5 years ago, and I was stunned that she still had it. It was ridiculous. Everyone else has moved on way on beyond to all the current technology, and she's there or something from when computers first came out.
These things have shown so much in a very short space of time.
Where do you see us going now then? Because you, by the sounds of it, you have a little bit of experience by looking through the prism of coming from Portugal, where you were privy to the results of a different type of war, different sort of civil war elsewhere, and you're now seeing parallel relations to it over in the UK here. So where do you see things going now? Coming here, because you obviously came here. Obviously, you chose Germany for whatever reasons beforehand, but you've come here. The opportunities are here for you. You've done well for yourself by looking at things, from starting off under a bridge and homeless. How do you think now things are going to progress from here? Are you worried about it?
We're going to go from a shift, okay? This is what I think. It doesn't mean that's really what's going to happen. But what I'm seeing a shift, okay? UK, the States, they have seen a certain amount of wealth over a period of time. So I said 10 years, a decade. They have seen all this wealth building. They allow a lot of people from poor countries to enter our shores. So we are on a shift where this country is going to get the hardest bit. And the countries who've been on the hardest bit now have to catch up. And if you actually Google, and you can see a lot of people are actually moving back to the poor countries.
So the people that are coming in here or have been coming in here, you see they're actually moving out of here now?
that's the people who came here and did well from themselves. They don't want to stay here and go through all this pain and all this mess that's going to come next. Right?
What's coming next?
What's coming? It will be much more pain than what we've been seeing. What we've been seeing is nothing yet. Things are going to get much, much worse for these countries because, come on, the government doesn't care. The government just see it happen, they let it happen. They're just letting it happen. They're not doing anything about it. Why? Well, because there is not enough jobs. Do you think that after the coronavirus that they're going to replace all the jobs that already been lost? You think a lot of these companies are going to come back? They're not, because most of them are working on debt. Being a self-employed, I was a self-employed myself, and I still am a self-employed. By the time I was a tiling, right? I hardly could make any money extra to save anything. I could never save anything. The only way I managed to save anything, I had to turn to something that was more advanced and more ahead of what I was, which is the internet. You're going to have to look at the internet. Yes, it's risky because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that are going to try and get you. But that's what happened where there is money, there is crime. Right? And there's a lot of it on the internet. There's a lot of pitfalls or mindfalls on the internet. Some you're going to do well and some you're going to lose. All you need to do is common sense.
So what are you going to do going forward? Like, what do you see for yourself now? Because you came here, you've done well. Again, you've done well for yourself. You've made a life for yourself. What's next for you?
Well, next for me is try to retire either obviously back home. I want to go back home. At some point, I'm going to have to go back. There's no two ways about it. You know, I'm white. If you saw me back in 2001, I'm black. But I need the sunlight. I really miss the sunlight, especially like it's been for the last week or so. It rains way too much. And eventually that's what's going to happen. But right now, my priority is my little girl.
I mean, that changes everybody's priorities, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's making sure that she gets away and she gets a little easy, but not too easy. Because they don't appreciate. Because right now we actually have a generation don't appreciate. Okay, because a lot of the what we're seeing in the youngsters, the snowflakes. Okay, come on guys, don't get up. But the snowflakes is nothing new.
Oh, he's starting again, isn't he? He's starting with his controversial comments.
But it's because they have so much, but they haven't seen what previous generation had to go through, so we can have this much. Okay, so all this freedom that we had for the last decade is going to go to other countries, to the countries that didn't have it. They're going to play catch up, and these people will move. There will be British people, there will be American people, Portuguese, French people. They will move to these countries, and I'm talking about countries like Africa.
So it's going to be somebody else's turn now.
People are shifting. Okay, so shifting, now these ones are going to have the hard times and Africa is going to play catch up. And if you look, the property prices are going up in Africa. Americans and millennials are preferring Africa now than any other countries.
Is that not because China is investing in Africa?
Well, China is investing everywhere. China is trying to buy the world.
They have been throwing money all over the place. They're basically, now the spotlight is on them. They've been doing this for a little while. Reports have come out that they've been investing heavily in Africa and essentially taken advantage of the lack of human rights over there when it comes to industry. So where the focus right now is on China and their lack of care over their workers, over the people's living conditions, the focus is there, but not in Africa, where they're actually investing their money and making a lot of money there as well.
Because what is the problem of the first world? Overregulation. First of all, we have overregulation, health and safety, all this stuff. EU bring this health and safety as well. It's not a brilliant idea. It's never been a brilliant idea. It works, but it has a lot of flaws. So this overregulation, non-profitable business models are screwing everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, this is screwing everybody. So what we're gonna have on the new world, which yes, we have a new world order, will be a cashless society.
You think it's going to be a new world order?
It will be a new world order. Cashless society. There's no two ways about that. Because it's much easier to control cashless society. Know where you spend your money. where you've been, where you've gone, just by following the money.
Also tell people how they can spend their money and live their lives, because at any moment they can put a hold on that money because it's digital.
Yeah, but it's ways to protect your money digitally as well. It works both ways. Yes, people hate Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, but people maybe shouldn't hate that so much, but do their own research and find out for themselves how to buy it, how to store it, how to hold it, because Bitcoin is an asset. But like everything else, if there is opportunity for opportunities to grab your money and separate it from your money using that brand name, they will. We have seen it in Microsoft. We have seen it in Google. We have seen it in even Facebook. Okay? You have seen it in MySpace. When MySpace came about before MySpace still existed. It hasn't gone away. But it was before Facebook. So, opportunists will use anything they can. We had people on a group, been scammed on a group, 800, 900 pounds deposit. They send money to this guy who claimed to be the admin of the group.
Oh.
I'm upset in all these people. How come you missed it?
His name wasn't Jose then.
His name wasn't Jose, and surely he's not going to be posting posts like that. Okay, his post will be about something that's ridiculously underpriced.
Yeah.
Just for you to send money to that.
Well, that's a scam that's been around since before time, and to anybody out there that falls for that, it's kind of, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. But I've got a question here for you, Jose.
That's how you never make any money. Sometimes there is things, it's about using common sense. You can do things, but make sure you do it in a way that you minimize the risk to yourself.
Well, you have to research it yourself. You have to look at something objectively, and if it is, that saying exists for a reason. If something is worth £900 in general and you see it everywhere for £900, somebody selling it for 100, that's not right. There's something wrong there.
Could be something wrong, or the person could be just that, but that's the way is a big
scam. But I've had a question come in for you, Jose. Somebody's asked, do you see yourself as offering a service, a forum for those who want to express their opinions, irrespective of the group page name?
Do you see? Can you read that question again? It's a bit tricky question.
Do you feel like you are offering a service or a forum, even though it's actually named as a for sale group? Do you feel like you're just actually offering a podium for people to express their feelings and their views?
Yes, it's a service for the community. Every person on that page has the right to comment, to say whatever you want to say. Don't just sell the stuff you don't use, the stuff you don't want.
And you're happy for people to do it. You're happy for people to put their own posts on there.
That's the idea. This is what I'm saying. People go on about this Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah. I've seen people making cakes and sell them on the streets to raise money for Black Lives Matter. I've never seen people doing that for our local homeless people who need help because the system hasn't got money. I've been there. I know how it's like. The system just doesn't have the money. The government does not supply the money, so these people can be helped. I talked to all of them.
The one thing I would say is, why is there not more uproar for the elderly that have clearly been mistreated during this time and have been allowed to suffer and die without the proper safety, no matter how much we've been told that they've been given a protective blanket and whatnot. And you've also got well, so you got the elderly that are suffering. That I had another point. I'll let you carry on. But the main thing is, like, the elderly that are suffering, they have not been protected, and there is no. That was it. The nurses as well. So you got the nurses who had a deal a few years ago. They could have had a deal a month before the pandemic happened, right? And now we've gone through it. This unprecedented, as they keep calling it, unprecedented situation. Why is it, of all the people, they don't get a new deal? Why? I've heard the argument that they already agreed a new deal, but why can it not be renegotiated? And I just don't understand it. These people who have suffered the most are not being looked after, not being helped.
And nobody complains, nobody's protesting about it.
There's no uproar. Where's the uproar? I mean, we all stood out on the doorstep clapping for all these nurses. Where's now the uproar for the ones who aren't being helped?
No way.
Do you know what they've had since? The only thing they've had since that has changed for them is they now have to pay for their own parking again, which means now they make even less money when they go to work. And that's all the thanks they get for continuing to work during a time when people have been made to sit at home. And yes, it's been hard for people who aren't used to it, but it's not as hard as being in a hospital dealing with people who are suffering and dying.
And this is why the government turns a black eye what's going on and what really should be people should be paying attention, because people are distracted to things who end up destroying themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of these people are just going to end up in jail. Fined, they're going to get arrested. The election passes through. And guess what? The people that needed help and really could do it, you getting arrested for, don't get that help, don't get that attention. Because people are way too busy raving about things that, I'm doing it as well. I'm guilty myself. But,
because really your post as well, if you think about it, your post, instead of highlighting things like that, because you have the platform, you look at it compared to the average person who struggles to get a page to, let's say, go over 100 likes or 100 people in the group, you have a page that has thousands of people on there. You have a platform. You could actually highlight the fact that nurses need attention and need that support. Elderly need that attention, need that support.
I did, and I even had a kid, an underage kid, posting on the group. He asked me, Joe, can I post this? Yes. Oh, but people's going to be the thing that don't care about what people think. You express your opinion and shut up. Just post it. And he posted. The next minute, I get a bunch of people telling me, delete this guy, delete this. Why do people want something to be deleted when it needs to be seen? This stuff cannot be hidden. Like the stuff I posted this morning. We cannot hide this stuff. We need to put it out there. We need to make sure people see what's real and illuminate what's fake.
So what you're saying is people, instead of focusing on your post per se, which it aids your page, I get it, aids your group, gets people involved and then come into the group for whatever discussion, whether good or bad, instead of focusing on your post that is controversial per se, why not create your own post? Because you will allow people to use the platform to post something if they feel it's more positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Everybody that has actually, because like I said, before this started, I had people saying to me, you shouldn't be on here. We shouldn't give you a platform, this, that, and the other. You're too controversial. You shouldn't be allowed to speak. But what you're saying is, come onto your platform. If you think that what you're saying is wrong, why don't you post something that's right? Use the platform yourself and actually get that message out there, which I actually think sounds like a very positive thing in itself.
You're going to see where the public going to go. You're going to see where the public going to go. Number two, okay, is Facebook. It's Facebook. It's not mine. It's cost me nothing for you to post in there. It cost me absolutely nothing. I just turned my computer off, turned my internet off, and you go there. The page is still there. Why? Because it's on my Facebook. It costs me nothing. If you hate it, if you like it, if you love it, if you share it, I don't care.
I hope people take note of that. I really do. I really hope people will use, because actually a lot of people don't have access to that, because on a lot of other pages, people might use that platform for their own negative propaganda, but they won't give people the platform to actually use their positive inspiration.
In all the pages and what I see in the other pages, this is why I got into, uploading videos to YouTube, to Facebook, to creating my own blogs, creating websites. It's because every time you try to do something on the groups, there's somebody who thinks he's somebody big because he can delete your post. Right? They think they're big. They're someone. They feel like they are someone.
It's that position of power, isn't it? No matter how small it is, somebody has a bit of power, they can abuse it. And it is a good example of, if you think of on our level, very low down level, right down here, where somebody gets a little position of power, what do you think is happening way up there?
Well, to them, there's nothing up, and they're just wasting their time. Somebody up there, yes, somebody is making all the money. In this case, Facebook.
But also has that control over what people say. I've got another question that's come in for you, actually.
Yeah.
So they've asked, Jose, do you regard North Wales as your home, or do you regard Portugal as your home, or is there anywhere else?
They're putting me on the spot right now.
Oh, they want the answers. They come on here for real opinions. There's no point coming on here without it.
I would say, obviously, after pretty much 20 years, if I wasn't here right now, I would be saying North Wales. Come on, guys. Portuguese were the first to come to North Wales.
Don't pander to the public now, Jose. Come on. So,
North Wales, it is definitely my second home. Definitely my second home. You know, I'll be honest. Because I tell you, I'll be honest here, I miss Portugal like mine. I totally miss. And the thing I miss the most is sunlight.
Sunlight. Well, that's why people are travelling even at this time to go over there to get a bit of that good vitamin D. Do you know what, Jose? This has been an absolute privilege having you on. I think it's been great. It's been eye-opening as well, because where people saw you in just one light on one group in particular, they might have been able to see another side to you here. And I really appreciate you coming on, and I'd like to thank you for your open and real opinions here.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. And as always,
hopefully next time we'll get the video working and we can have a real interactive two-way here.
Yeah, it could get a little spicy if people can to get a little interesting. But we got a lot of stuff to chat. Let's do it.
Lovely. I'm sure I'll have you on again. Thank you very much, Jose. I'll speak to you very shortly.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye. So that was Jose Nunes. He gracefully came onto the show, answered your questions, gave his real opinions. If you'd like to be on the show, if you'd like to give your opinion, ask some questions, you're more than welcome anytime. And we'll see you again soon.